When does she start missing you for real? Old Stoic wisdom. Not the fleeting kind of missing, no shallow boredom or empty words. I mean the profound, soul-stirring awareness that your presence once meant more than she ever fully admitted, even to herself. This awakening doesn't come from constant texts or desperate chasing. It arises when you gracefully step back, when you become a quiet, steady force, scarce yet composed, unshaken by the noise. Let's explore the 11 subtle signs that mark the moment she starts missing you in a way that truly matters. Number 1. The silence after the storm. When the storm of a breakup or distance settles, it's not the noise that speaks loudest, but the silence that follows. And this silence is where she begins to truly miss you. In the immediate aftermath, emotions rage, words fly in heated exchanges, accusations and defenses clash. But once the storm quiets, your silence becomes a powerful presence louder than any argument. It's in this stillness that the first seed of missing you takes root. During the chaos, it's easy for her to convince herself that space is necessary, that both of you just need time apart. Yet, your silence isn't accidental or passive. It's intentional, a quiet strength that communicates more than words ever could. You're not anxiously waiting for a message or watching her every move online. Instead, you've chosen to hold your ground with calm resolve. Picture her opening her phone expecting the familiar ping of your name, a message, a missed call, only to find nothing. Days turn into a week, and the absence of your presence weighs heavier with each passing moment. What she once took for granted, your attention, your steady presence, the way you could center her amid chaos, is now replaced by an echoing void. This is where the real impact lies. It's not merely your absence that hurts her, but the dawning realization of what that absence truly means. Marcus Aurelius wisely noted, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. The pain she feels is not caused by you leaving, but by the understanding that you are no longer waiting, no longer chasing, no longer caught in the cycle of needing her validation." Your silence speaks volumes. It says you have chosen peace over persuasion and self-respect over desperation. It signals that you won't beg for attention or try to convince someone to see your worth, because you've reclaimed your energy and placed it firmly back in yourself. This silence marks a turning point not only for her, but for you as well. It reveals how powerful calmness can be, and how not reacting doesn't mean indifference, but rather a deep care for yourself and your dignity. It's an unspoken message that love does not have to be chaotic to be real, and that sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is to stand firm in quiet confidence. If you find yourself in this silence now, resist the urge to fill it with noise. Let it breathe. Allow her to feel the weight of your absence and the truth that follows when the distractions fade. Because after the storm has passed and the arguments cease, what remains is the undeniable truth that sometimes the loudest statement is made in silence. I want to know, have you ever experienced this kind of silence? Not as punishment, but as peace? The silence born not from anger, but from finally valuing yourself enough to walk away without drama. Share your thoughts in the comments, or if you have embraced calm over chaos, simply leave this phrase: "My silence wasn't empty, it was full of strength." Your story might be exactly what another man needs to hear today, a reminder that true strength often lies not in noise, but in the quiet power of self-respect. Number 2, when her routine feels empty. When her daily routine starts to feel hollow, when the small, seemingly insignificant rituals, the texts that made her smile, the quick calls that punctuated her day, the shared memes that sparked inside jokes, all suddenly vanish. That's when she begins to truly sense your absence. It's not an immediate pang of missing you, but rather a subtle, creeping void where your presence once lived so naturally, so consistently, that she hardly noticed it until it was gone. Picture the moment she unlocks her phone, instinctively expecting a notification from you, only to find nothing there. It's in these quiet, almost invisible spaces that absence weighs the heaviest. When she laughs at something funny and reaches out to share it, only to hesitate, remembering the silence. It's not just you she misses. It's the comfort and warmth that your presence brought to her everyday rhythm. You became the steady background to her life, the familiar beat to which her days moved. And when you stepped away, that beat stopped without fanfare. She scrolls through her phone, hoping to find a flicker of that feeling again. But no other message, no other person can fill that unique space you once occupied. Your absence isn't a loud, dramatic loss. It's the quiet stillness that follows a favourite song when the music abruptly stops, leaving a lingering sense of something precious having slipped away. This realisation dawns slowly, teaching her that connection isn't just about grand gestures or moments of intensity. It's about the consistency, the presence that threads through the mundane details of everyday life. When that thread unravels, even the smallest parts of her day feel disrupted and off-kilter. Here lies a profound truth. You are not the one who is lost in this. Rather, you have chosen to step away from a space where you are not fully valued or appreciated. This is not an act of punishment or spite. It is an expression of self-respect and dignity. This is where your stoic strength quietly reveals itself. Instead of rushing back to fill the silence with desperate texts or pleas for attention, you embrace stillness, choosing discipline over neediness. Marcus Aurelius, a titan of Stoic wisdom, reminds us that it is not things that disturb us, but our judgment about them. She judged your presence as a given, a constant certainty, until the moment it became uncertain, and now she must sit with that uncomfortable truth. Perhaps she won't voice it aloud, perhaps pride keeps her from reaching out, but beneath it all, the rhythm of her life, once pulsing with your energy, has grown colder and more barren. That daily routine she took for granted wasn't just habit or coincidence, it was you. Let her experience that emptiness, not as an act of vengeance, but as a boundary you set to protect your own worth. Your silence is not indifference or neglect. It is the embodiment of discipline, a calm strength that refuses to be drawn into chaos or neediness. When she finally acknowledges what she's lost, she will not merely miss the man you were, but the version of herself that felt whole and alive simply by having you woven into her everyday existence. In modern life, where distractions abound and connections are often fleeting, this lesson resonates deeply. The greatest presence is often the quietest. The most profound impact is made through consistent, reliable presence rather than dramatic gestures. For you, the lesson is clear. Value yourself enough to walk away when you are not fully cherished, and trust that absence, carried with dignity, speaks volumes more than empty words ever could. When she feels the quiet emptiness where your presence once was, that's when she truly starts missing you. This isn't about rushing back or chasing attention. It's about standing firm, embracing your own worth, and letting silence speak louder than any desperate words. True strength is discipline, not drama. If you're ready to own that strength, drop this in the comments right now. I am the man who values himself above all. Number 3. When other men don't measure up. When other men don't measure up, that's when she truly starts missing you, not just in passing, but deep in her bones. It's not because you shouted louder or gave her more dazzling words. It's because you held a presence no one else could match. She meets others, yes, but there's a void that none of them fill. They come with loud voices, cheap jokes, flashy gestures, and desperate attempts to impress. They flood her world with noise, distractions, and hollow charm. But what they bring is surface level, a glittering facade that shines briefly before fading into forgettable nothingness. Meanwhile, you, without trying, without performing, left an indelible mark. You showed up fully, with calm strength, steady as a rock in a storm. You didn't chase validation. You didn't scramble to win her over with desperate moves. You simply were. That difference, that rare quality of true presence, lingers long after you're gone, haunting her thoughts, stirring her memories, pulling at her heart. She may be on a date with someone new right now. He's saying all the right things, trying to charm, trying to be the centre of attention, but she finds her mind drifting. Not because she's holding on, but because her body remembers. It remembers the safety you created without words. It remembers the silence you didn't rush to fill, the way your calm steadied her anxious soul. That quiet confidence you carried wasn't a tactic or a game. It was your essence, something no man can fake or replicate. As Marcus Aurelius famously declared, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." That's exactly what you did. You didn't strive to outshine or outplay anyone. You rooted yourself in self-awareness, integrity, and an unwavering calm that demanded respect. You embodied strength without aggression, power without noise. And now, no matter how many men attempt to dazzle her with superficial tricks, she can't help but sense the difference. It's like comparing a flickering candle to an unmovable lighthouse. The others are fleeting flashes. You are the steady light that guides. In today's chaotic world, where everyone is competing for attention, loudly, aggressively, even desperately, your quiet power is a rare jewel. The world rewards the flashy, the fast-talking, the constantly busy, but true mastery comes from restraint, from knowing your value without needing others to confirm it. When you are grounded, you become magnetic. This is not just old Stoic wisdom. It's a timeless truth that transcends age and culture. The men who try to impress with noise and speed end up forgotten, while the man who is at peace with himself leaves a lasting impression. It's not about competition. It's about being the standard she can't settle for less than. You taught her without saying a word. Your presence spoke louder than any boast or bravado. You didn't have to perform to be remembered. You were remembered because you were real. When she compares, it's not because she's fickle, it's because she's recognizing the difference between noise and substance, between temporary thrills and lasting calm. And that realization is what creates true longing, true missing. You became the benchmark for what presence really means, and now everything else falls short. She can't help it. She tries to move on, but deep down she's drawn back to that sense of security and authenticity only you could provide. Men, this is your call to action. Don't waste your energy on hollow performances. Don't get lost in the chase for fleeting validation. Instead, embody the power of calm, the strength of steady presence. Cultivate yourself. Root yourself in the values that don't shift with the wind: integrity, self-awareness, quiet confidence. Like Marcus Aurelius said, stop debating what a good man is and simply be one. When you do, you don't have to chase or beg. You command respect effortlessly. You become the man who leaves a mark, who creates longing, who becomes unforgettable, not because you shouted the loudest, but because you stood firm in who you are. Remember this. Presence isn't about noise. It's about the depth you carry silently. It's about being a man who doesn't need to prove himself because his worth is self-evident. The moment she starts missing you for real is the moment she recognizes what true presence feels like, and no other man can match that. The rest are distractions, noise fading into the background. You are the constant she returns to in her mind, the calm in her storm. Own that power. Be that man. If you're ready to rise above the noise and claim your true strength, like this post, comment below with "I am the calm in the storm," and subscribe for more powerful truths that will change how you show up in the world. Don't settle for being a fleeting spark. Be the steady flame that burns long after the crowd has gone silent. Number 4. The mirror moment. This is a profound point in any connection where she finds herself looking into the mirror and seeing far more than just her reflection. She sees a version of herself that she hasn't encountered in a long time, a woman transformed subtly but unmistakably by the time she spent with you. It begins quietly, almost unnoticed, like when she catches herself brushing her hair while a song plays softly in the background, the very same song that once echoed through your car on long drives. In that instant, it's not just the memory of you that surfaces, but the memory of her, the woman she was when you were near. She recalls the softness she allowed herself to feel, the genuine laughter that came without hesitation, and the peaceful ease in her eyes, born from the rare feeling of being truly safe, seen and valued. The reflection she now sees is not the same because it's missing something essential, the calm, clarity, and space for authenticity that you brought out in her. This wasn't about grand gestures or dramatic acts. It was about a quiet strength, a steady presence that didn't force or manipulate, but simply held space for her to become more of who she wanted to be. You were a mirror reflecting her higher self back to her, not by performance or demand, but through the authentic way you lived your truth. As Epictetus wisely said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." You never lost yourself trying to win her over. Instead, you stood firm in your identity, inviting her to meet you there, not by pressure, but by the natural energy of your being. Without that presence, the mirror she once gazed into is now clouded, and the version of herself she felt alive has become a distant memory. This moment of reflection is deeply human. It forces us to compare our current selves to who we were when we felt most aligned, most at peace, and most alive. When she experiences this mirror moment, it creates a subtle but powerful ripple, a quiet longing not just for you, but for the self she was with you. This kind of missing is unlike ordinary nostalgia or attraction. It touches the core of identity. It's the difference between attachment, which fades with time, and impact, which lingers in the echoes of memory and reflection. The mark you left was not because you tried to change her, but because you remained true to your own purpose, creating a space where she could flourish. This is the essence of real connection, when your steadiness invites another to rise, rather than conform or diminish. Now, I want you to take a moment and reflect on your own journey, because while she may be searching for the woman she was with you, you too have been evolving. You've become the man who not only holds space for others, but honours and protects his own space with even greater respect and power. This growth is both rare and profound. Maybe you've already experienced this dynamic in your own life, the realization that someone came into your world and brought out something real in you, not by changing you, but by meeting your grounded presence with their own. This is the true power of being rooted in your identity. I encourage you to share your story. What did your mirror moment look like? Or if you want to keep it simple, just drop this in the comments. It wasn't just about her, it was who I became around her. Because often, the strongest reminder of your worth doesn't come from who misses you, but from who you've become without them. This insight is not only humbling, but empowering, as it reminds us that the most meaningful connections are those that reflect and enhance our truest selves. Carry this wisdom forward in your relationships and your life, knowing that your authentic presence has the power to inspire and transform, not just others, but most importantly, yourself. Number 5. When you stop watching. When you reach the point where you stop watching her, the stories, the posts, the subtle signals you once eagerly tracked, you step into a space of profound transformation, one that quietly shifts the dynamic between you two in ways that are felt more than spoken. Remember when you used to scroll through her updates, liking a photo here, leaving a brief comment there, or sending a quick reply to her stories? Those small but consistent actions were your way of remaining present, a silent reassurance that she still lived in your thoughts. To her, these gestures were more than casual social media interactions. They were proof that a piece of you lingered within her orbit, that you cared enough to show it in the digital spaces she shared. But now, the silence is deafening in its absence. No likes, no views, no reactions. It's not the loud clashes or heated arguments that leave the deepest marks on someone's memory, but rather the absence of presence where it was once expected most. This shift isn't dramatic. It doesn't scream, but its weight is heavy because it reveals a fundamental change. You are no longer a spectator in her life. The silence you create isn't born from bitterness, frustration, or anger. It's intentional, a deliberate act of reclaiming your focus and your power. When a man stops watching from the sidelines, he stops investing his energy in someone else's performance and instead turns his gaze inward. This redirection leads to a powerful realization. The only thing you can truly control is yourself. and in that control lies your greatest strength. Your withdrawal forces her to notice the absence of what she once took for granted. She checks her story views, hoping to see your name pop up like it used to, a small but steady sign of your attention. When it's not there, a quiet anxiety starts to grow, an echoing question that unsettles the mind. Why isn't he watching anymore? This moment marks a subtle but profound shift, because she hasn't just lost your attention, she's lost your energy, the emotional currency that once fueled the connection between you. From a Stoic perspective, attention is currency, and a grounded man spends it only where it aligns with his peace and purpose. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not caused by the thing itself, but by your estimation of it. This wisdom illuminates what is truly happening here, not just a change in your actions, but a transformation in your perception. You no longer find value in surface-level validation, the fleeting approval found in social media, likes, or superficial engagement. Without fanfare or announcement, you have raised your standards and quietly adjusted your internal boundaries. This is not about punishing her or playing games. It's about respecting yourself enough to stop feeding a connection that no longer serves your growth or peace of mind. When you stop watching, you take away the stage where she once performed, the spotlight that illuminated her in your world. In this withdrawal, something remarkable happens. She begins to recognize what your quiet presence once held: depth, intention, and stability. These are qualities that cannot be replaced by digital noise or shallow interactions. They come from a man who is grounded in himself and no longer distracted by the need for constant external validation. Now, reflect on where you place your attention in today's hyper-connected world, where distractions are endless and the temptation to watch someone else's curated life is strong. Are you still tied to observing her, living in the shadows of her updates and stories? Or are you building your own life with strength, clarity, and authentic presence? Because the moment you stop watching her is the moment you begin to watch yourself with new eyes, focused, purposeful, and aligned with what truly matters. Ironically, this shift draws her attention back to you, not through noise or desperation, but through the quiet power of a man fully engaged in his own path. In modern life, where distractions are constant and superficial connections abound, this Stoic wisdom is more relevant than ever. Your attention is precious, your energy finite. Guard it wisely, invest it in your growth, your passions, and your peace. When you respect yourself enough to withdraw from what no longer serves you, you create space for genuine connection, grounded in mutual respect and authentic presence. This is the true moment when she begins missing you, not because you chased her or clung to the past, but because you reclaimed your life and your attention, embodying a strength and stability that commands quiet admiration. Number 6. When she remembers the calm. When she begins to truly miss you, it's not because you dazzled her with words or swept her away with grandiose displays. No, what she longs for is far deeper, far more profound. She remembers your calm, that quiet strength you carried that didn't shout for attention but commanded respect simply by existing. In a world where life spins wildly, where work stress, endless notifications, shallow conversations, and constant noise cloud her mind, your calm was her sanctuary. You were the eye of her storm. You weren't loud, frantic, or emotionally volatile. You didn't rush to fix every little problem or react with unnecessary drama. Instead, you were steady. You were grounded. Your presence didn't try to impress. It simply was. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who mastered himself amidst the chaos of empire, said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." You brought that retreat into every moment with her. You carried an internal stillness that radiated outward, shaping the space between you both into a haven of peace and control. This calm wasn't cold or distant. It wasn't passive submission or silence out of fear. It was the essence of true power, strength under control, mastery of self, presence without effort. She begins to notice this contrast starkly when she encounters others. Maybe it's a new acquaintance who talks endlessly, tries too hard to impress, or gets triggered by every little inconvenience. Maybe it's someone who offers advice before truly listening, who fills the silence with noise rather than understanding. In those moments, the memory of you creeps in, quiet, steady, unshakable. She doesn't miss the words you said because it was never about the words. It was about the energy you brought, the calm you embodied. That calm became the standard she subconsciously measures every other man by. Because life's chaos is thrilling in bursts, but exhausting in reality. Chaos is loud, unpredictable, and draining. Calm is home. Calm is survival. Calm is strength that doesn't shout, but holds firm like bedrock beneath a raging sea. She missed more than a man. She missed the peace you represented. The peace that felt like safety, a refuge from the endless storm. This is where the modern man must understand something crucial. Being calm, centered, and self-controlled in today's overstimulated world isn't weakness. It's the highest form of strength. It's what sets you apart from every other man, desperate to be seen and heard. It's the magnetic force that draws her back, even when she doesn't realize it yet. The truth is, your calm wasn't a lack of passion or emotion. It was a mastery of them. You didn't seek control over her. You had control over yourself. You chose when to speak, when to act, and when to simply be. That intentionality shaped how she experienced safety, respect, and trust. And now, in the silence left by your absence, she feels the void of that steady peace more than anything else. The world around her is loud, impatient, and chaotic, but what she truly craves is the quiet strength only you possessed. That's the mark of a man who lives with purpose, who isn't driven by ego, but by principle, who understands that true influence comes from stillness, not noise, who knows that lasting attraction is built not on excitement, but on security. So if you want to be the man who leaves an indelible mark, who becomes the standard others can't match, cultivate your calm like a warrior hones his sword. Own your stillness. Command your presence. In this age of distraction and haste, your calm is your most potent weapon. Let it speak louder than any boast or promise ever could. Because when she starts missing you, she isn't missing just a man. She's missing the peace, the strength, and the unshakable refuge that only you can provide. As the philosopher Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. React with calm. Be unmovable. Be the anchor in her storm. And if this truth resonates with you, don't just keep it to yourself. Like hint, comment, 'I own my calm,' and subscribe for more guidance to sharpen your edge and build the life of strength, mastery, and respect you deserve. Remember, the world rewards the man who controls himself first. Be that man. Be the calm she never forgets." Number 7. The emotional trigger. It's remarkable how something as simple as a song, a place, or even a scent can suddenly flood her mind with memories, triggering feelings she neither planned nor controlled. Perhaps it's that quiet cafe you once frequented together, nestled in a corner where laughter felt effortless and time seemed to slow down just for you two. Or maybe it's a song playing on shuffle. The very track she once told you reminded her of the way you were, steady, genuine, present. In that fleeting moment, her world stops, not because she wants to, but because the emotional weight crashes through her defenses without warning. This is the undeniable power of emotional triggers. They bypass logic and reason, striking quietly when she's least prepared, while scrolling through her phone, driving in silence, or even when she's pretending to be fine for the world around her. What hits her isn't just a recollection of you, but the feeling she had when you were near, safe, seen, grounded. It's that sensation of being fully understood and unshaken, like an anchor in a restless sea. Here the wisdom of Stoicism reveals itself, not through cold detachment, but through the profound strength of presence. You never grasped at moments out of fear or desperation. Instead, you embraced them fully, knowing that time is a gift rather than a given. This calm certainty, this rootedness in the now, gave your time together true depth. You weren't just passing through her life. You created lasting imprints by simply being genuinely there. It's why, long after you've stepped away with quiet dignity, it's not your face or your words she recalls, it's your presence. The kind of presence that radiates a calm strength, a stillness that fills the room and lingers in the air. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. Your calm presence dyed her memories with something unforgettable. So when she finds herself frozen in a moment, triggered by a scent or a photo, it's not nostalgia for the past, it's the echo of what you were in her present. That's the paradox. By refusing to cling, you left a mark deeper than any desperate attempt to be remembered ever could. This is the essence of the man Stoicism molds. Not loud, not desperate, but deeply felt in the silence between words and moments. It's the quiet confidence that shapes a lasting emotional impact without attachment. Let that idea sink in, that your calm presence, lived fully in the moment, can leave a more profound impression than any grand gesture or dramatic declaration. As Seneca once advised, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, and it's this enjoyment of the present, without fear or grasping, that etches you into her memory in a way that feels timeless. Real life reflects this beautifully. Perhaps you've noticed someone pause, suddenly, lost in thought, triggered by something small, a song on the radio, a smell carried by the wind, a place that holds 1,000 silent conversations. These moments reveal what truly sticks with us isn't always the events themselves, but the feelings tied to them. For men between 35 and 70, who may have experienced love, loss, and the quiet passage of time, understanding this can be transformative. Instead of trying to force connection or hold on too tightly, the advice is to be present, to live fully without clinging, and to cultivate calm strength. When you do, you create an emotional legacy that quietly moves someone's soul long after you've gone. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever experienced such a moment where something small unexpectedly triggered a flood of feeling? Whether it was from your own side or from someone else's, share what this stirred in you. Drop your thoughts below, or simply leave this sentence in the comments. It wasn't the memory of me. It was the feeling I brought with me. Let's keep this conversation alive, because next we'll explore a moment she never saw coming, one that could change everything. Number 8. When you don't react. Picture this. She posts something online, maybe a subtle quote meant to tug at your curiosity, or a carefully chosen, seductive photo meant to get your attention. In our digital age, these posts are often more than just casual shares. They are calculated moves designed to elicit a reaction, to remind you that she's still there, still hoping you're watching, still testing the waters of your interest. She expects the usual pattern, a quick like, a comment, a direct message sliding into your inbox, or any small signal that shows you still care, that you're still emotionally present. But this time, you don't bite. You don't engage. Your silence isn't accidental, it's intentional, a quiet refusal to play the game on her terms. This silence speaks louder than any words could. At first, it sparks confusion. She wonders, did he not see it? Did he miss it, or worse? Did he see it and simply not care? That subtle post, which was meant to stir a reaction, instead becomes a mirror reflecting her uncertainty back onto her. This is where the emotional shift begins. What started as her attempt to control the narrative, to manipulate the emotional ebb and flow, turns into a question mark. That power she thought she held suddenly slips away because you have quietly taken it back, not by responding, but by withholding response altogether. Your stillness transforms from absence to presence. In a world that demands constant interaction and immediate feedback, this deliberate choice to remain unmoved carries immense weight. It says you are not easily swayed, not a man to be pulled into the drama or the chase. You're not ignoring her out of spite or punishment, but because engaging no longer serves your peace of mind or your dignity. You have learned to master the pause, to observe without needing to intervene, to hold your ground without flinching. This is Stoicism in its purest form, the ancient philosopher Epictetus reminds us, it's not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. You have shifted your opinion. No longer do you view her posts as triggers demanding a reaction, but as mere events that pass through your awareness without disturbing your inner calm. Your attention is no longer a currency to be spent impulsively. It is a treasure you dispense wisely. You no longer chase breadcrumbs or scramble after fleeting sparks of validation. Instead, you let her wander. You allow the silence to echo where your attention used to be, creating a void that naturally pulls at her emotions, making her question, reflect, and ultimately long. When a man stops reacting, he becomes unpredictable, and in unpredictability lies power. In today's hyper-connected world, where responses are instantaneous and availability is assumed, a man who holds back becomes a mystery. He disrupts the expected script, which is what makes him unforgettable. This unpredictability isn't a ploy or a game. It's a demonstration of self-respect and emotional sovereignty. You are no longer a player in the drama. You are the calm center around which it spins. You don't need to prove anything to anyone because you've grown beyond that stage of life. Your energy is precious and you protect it fiercely. The more she attempts to pull a reaction from you and fails, the deeper she feels the absence of your presence, and that absence speaks volumes because it once meant something real. It's the presence she took for granted that now haunts the space you've chosen to vacate. So, you stay still. You remain unmoved by the noise and chaos swirling around you. This stillness is not apathy, it is mastery. It is the deliberate choice to embody calm strength rather than reactive impulse. This is the difference between a man who responds to life with frantic reactivity and a man who answers with silence, purpose, and self-respect. In modern life, where distractions abound and emotional responses are often dictated by algorithms and social pressures, cultivating this kind of quiet power is a rare and invaluable skill. It teaches us that true influence isn't always in what we say or do, but often in what we choose not to say or do. When you master this, you don't just become unforgettable, you become a man who commands respect, commands his own peace, and sets the standard for how a mature, grounded man carries himself in a noisy, impatient world. This is old Stoic wisdom made relevant, a reminder that sometimes the most profound connection comes not from reaction, but from the strength of silent presence. Number 9. The contrast hits like a thunderclap in a silent room. She begins to compare her current experiences with the unshakable presence you embodied, the way you listened with intention, held your composure like a fortress, and never once sought validation from her or anyone else. This awakening doesn't happen in a flash. It unfolds slowly, like a creeping tide reshaping the shoreline. She finds herself sitting across from a man who talks endlessly but never truly hears, or one who desperately fishes for approval with every word, his insecurity loud and clumsy. That's when the truth crashes in. With you, there were no gimmicks, no desperate attempts to impress or be impressed. You were calm, composed, anchored in your own strength. That stillness you carried wasn't emptiness, it was power. She may have taken it for granted at the time, unaware of the rare quality she was in the presence of. But now, faced with noise that's all surface and no depth, she feels the void where your grounded energy once was. This is the undeniable force of being centered. The old Stoics knew it well. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who mastered himself amidst chaos, said, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." You lived this truth every day. You didn't chase fleeting praise or validation. Instead, you built an emotional fortress, a climate where she could be at ease, but never in charge of your peace. That's the difference she's only now starting to grasp. She once believed that more words meant more connection, that constant attention meant deeper care. But now, that excessive effort rings hollow, cheap, like a show put on to mask insecurity. Your quiet, steady presence, once invisible to her, is now a beacon she deeply underestimated. The contrast isn't just about what's missing, it's about the rarity of what you had. You were the calm in a storm of noise, the steady anchor in a sea of chaos, and this kind of presence leaves a mark, an indelible impression that echoes long after you're gone. It's the energy of a man who knows himself, who doesn't flinch at silence, who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. This is modern life's greatest challenge, to remain unshaken when everything around you demands frenzy and validation. Yet that is your power. Own it. Command it. Because when she starts to miss you for real, it's not just a pang of nostalgia, it's a deep recognition of the strength you carried, a strength that no showy display or desperate plea can replace. Remember what Seneca said. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. You never craved. You never begged. You ruled your inner world like a true king, and that's the energy that lingers, haunting her thoughts now. If you want to reclaim that power or hold on to it forever, don't waste it on noise or approval. Be the man who creates his own emotional kingdom, steady and unyielding. The kind of presence that makes others feel small in comparison and makes her realize what real strength looks like. This is not just advice. This is a call to action. Stand tall, hold your ground. Be the man who is missed not for what he said, but for who he was, unmovable, unshakable, undeniable. If you're ready to live this truth, to master yourself and leave a lasting mark, then hit like, comment below with the phrase, "I am the master of my own soul," and subscribe for more powerful insights. This is your moment. Take control. Because when the contrast hits, only the strong remain unforgettable. Number 10. When you've clearly leveled up, you've evolved. When a man truly levels up, when he evolves beyond the old versions of himself, the shift is undeniable and irreversible. She notices it, not in the loud proclamations, not in the flashy changes, but in the quiet power that now radiates from your being. It's in the calm that fills your eyes, the steady strength in your every move, the silent message that you no longer chase what you once needed because you've found yourself. This isn't about a new haircut or the gym gains or the way your presence suddenly commands respect. It's deeper, rooted in unshakable inner peace and clarity. You don't need to announce your transformation to the world. You don't need to rub your progress in her face. You just become that man, consistent, composed, unbothered by chaos and focused on what truly matters. When she glimpses you through mutual friends, social media, or a fleeting encounter, she feels it, the shift in her chest, a sharp sting of realization that the man she thought she knew no longer exists in the orbit of her world. She remembers the you who forgave easily, who was always available, but now there's a boundary that's palpable, even across the screen. This isn't coldness or spite, it's a deliberate realignment of your standards. As the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts." Your thoughts have transformed, and so has your soul. If her energy softens, if her eyes linger longer when you cross paths, it's not just a glance, it's the dawning understanding of what it means to lose someone who found peace without needing her closure. This is not your burden. Your role isn't to justify your glow-up or revisit the past. Your mission is to keep evolving, relentlessly, unapologetically, for yourself alone. Own this power. Own this growth. In a world that clings to drama and chaos, be the calm storm that moves forward with purpose. Remember the words of Nietzsche. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Your why is your evolution, your mastery over yourself. She may miss you, not for the man she thought she had, but for the man she lost to his own greatness. Let that truth fuel your ascent. This is your time. This is your life. Don't look back. Like if you're ready to own your growth, comment with one word that defines your new self, and subscribe to keep rising beyond every limit. And there it is. The moment she truly starts missing you isn't when you disappear overnight. It's when you evolve quietly, when your presence stops showing up where she used to expect it, and your peace starts speaking louder than any words you ever said. It's not about playing games or making her suffer. It's about you stepping into your power, choosing growth over chasing, stillness over noise, self-respect over validation. And that shift, that's what she feels. That's when the missing begins. Not for the version of you she took for granted, but for the version she never saw coming. If there's one takeaway from today's video, it's this. Your absence only creates impact when it's backed by real inner change. So don't wait for her to notice. Let your life speak. Let your silence teach, and let your calm be the reminder of the man you've become. Now I want to hear from you. Which moment do you think hits her the hardest? Drop your thoughts in the comments or simply type, "She didn't expect the silence to echo this loud." If today's message spoke to you, if you got value from this, give it a like. It helps the message reach more people. And don't forget to check out the other videos on screen for more insights on self-growth, relationships, and silent strength. Until next time, stay grounded, stay focused, and protect your peace.